And today is day 31 of the government shutdown, the second longest in U.S. history. And it's resulted in political finger-pointing as to who is to blame. Is it the Democrats, who have voted down the GOP funding resolution to reopen the government more than a dozen times? Or Republicans, for refusing to budge on certain health care assistance? Well, today I sat down with Democratic U.S. Senator Ron Wyden. He has voted against Republicans' continued resolution to end this shutdown. Here's what he said it would take to earn his support. What changes would you need to see to support a funding bill? What are your specific priorities that you would need to see be included in order for you to vote yes?
Well, I need to see a commitment to work it out in a bipartisan kind of fashion. I just mentioned healthcare. We're also dealing with food and hunger questions. We had a favorable ruling a couple of hours ago because there's a contingency fund. That's what I want to see.
Critics say shutdowns are often motivated by political strategy instead of public service. How would you respond to that?
Donald Trump is very different than anybody that I've served with, and I've served with a number of presidents. He basically gets up in the morning and decides he wants to do something, and then he goes to pursue it. That's one of the reasons why a lot of people really see him as a king, because he doesn't want to be bound by the rules of what the founding fathers came up with.
What message do you have for all Oregonians impacted by this shutdown? Even the critics who say you and other Democrats are not doing enough to end it.
I say I'm interested in working with anybody who wants to get this resolved. And as I said on health care, I've shown in the past that I have bipartisan ideas. I can get them passed, and I can do it again.
We also talked about the impact of this shutdown on everyday Oregonians, especially those who rely on food stamp benefits each month. Again, 750,000 Oregonians. As we mentioned earlier, some SNAP money will be available to people next month, though not likely by this weekend.
My message is that we cannot have the status quo where Trump is just stonewalling and there's no food assistance for the very vulnerable. The reality is, if kids who are low income and may have some health issues, or seniors of modest incomes get sick, that costs everybody a whole lot more. If you have institutional care for the elderly, young people who can't learn. The reality is there's $6 billion under a obligatory program that is locked in to the process of the United States Congress. We ought to use that money and to help people who are hungry.
You co-sponsored a bill called the Keep SNAP and WIC Funded Act of 2025. What would that do, and does anything in that change now given the federal judge's ruling?
Well, it certainly is supported by the judge's ruling. I mean, the judge's ruling is we need to make sure that vulnerable people, this has never been done in American history, to have something like this, an arbitrary cutoff, and the judge's ruling today supports us, and our bill is in line with it.
Does anything change within the bill?
I haven't had a chance to look at the ruling, but I think they're consistent.
I also asked him about the potential deployment of the National Guard and the legal battle over whether Trump can send troops to the Portland Ice Building.
Well, it's been fairly predictable. I've said from the very beginning that my concern was Trump was interested in inciting violence. We are overwhelmingly a safe community. Obviously, there are some concerns in terms of fentanyl and homelessness and the like, but we're doing a lot better, and overwhelmingly, we're a safe and vibrant community. Donald Trump doesn't like that. I think he was hoping that there would be violence and he could come on in and act like a king and tell everybody what to do.
What is the estimated cost to taxpayers for deploying the National Guard to Portland? You had previously called for a formal inquiry in these costs.
Yes, Senator Merkley and I have requested it. We just made it a couple of days ago. We don't have a sense yet what the number will be, but it is going to be pretty pricey.
And before we let the senator go, we asked him about the recent arrest of Chauncey Billups, the Portland Trail Blazers head coach. Okay, some scandal has been surrounding the Portland Trail Blazers lately. The FBI arrested the head coach, Chauncey Billups, this month for charges connected to allegedly rigged poker games tied to the mafia. We're learning today his new defense lawyer is a former Trump lawyer. You're a big Blazers fan. What was your reaction to his arrest?
Well, it obviously was a very sad few days. The Blazers are getting up, and they've got a young team. They're going to be an exciting team. I'm going tonight, but certainly we have to draw a line in the sand and make it clear that illegal gambling is absolutely unacceptable.
So what reforms or oversight do you think Congress should consider to guard against abuse of insider information in sports?
Well, this is just starting out as a debate. In other words, it's only been a few days. But I think, the key is to have clear rules that everybody understands, and I think there's some questions about whether that was the case here, and then you have strong enforcement.
We reached out to Republican Representative Cliff Bentz, Oregon's only Republican in Congress. He was unavailable to talk with us today. We are working on scheduling an interview with him next week, so stay tuned for that.